The bot lane is easily one of the best positions in the LCS, and I think it's time that we take a look and rank them, but not in the traditional power rankings. We're going to do a tier list, so let's take a look at it on the LCS report. That's right, everybody. We are back, and this is like my third take. I kept messing stuff up, so I apologize. I was actually recording without this wonderful overlay that I had made, thanks to Canva. Great site, by the way. But I wanted to do one more power ranking / tier list before I headed into the actual, LCS power rankings where I have each player. And I think bot lane is one of the most important ones to look at. And so I think, we're going to start from the bottom, go make our way to the top. Again, I actually think this is probably, if not, I think it's the second best position in the LCS. I think, it's jungle, I think bot, I think probably then support / top. I think one of those two, and then I think mid lane's unfortunately the worst in the LCS right now, but you know what, that's okay. This bot lane tier list, I should say, is going to be similar to what I have for my LCS power rankings over at the Game House, if you want to check out that article, but I do think that this is just a little bit different. I think that it is, there are some players who are going to be in certain tiers with other players, and it should hopefully, explain things just a little bit better. So let's start at the bottom here. Unfortunately, I think a guy who has some talent for sure, but he's a little on the older side to be getting his, first full split. And he didn't really impress me all that much statistically or with the eye test. I was really surprised that Spawn was brought back when there's a lot of young talent, I think, down in Academy / NACS or LCS or whatever. It's not great for me. I think he's going to make up part of one of the weakest bot lanes in North America, and I think that if Dignitas had even just a 1 or 2 level up player, I think that team would be really dangerous. But their top side is, excuse me, a little inconsistent, and they're going to rely on Spawn, and he's going to have a lot of pressure to try to carry some of these games. I just don't know if he's going to be able to do it. So for right now, he is at the bottom for me. The next one is Stixxay. He heads up to D tier. And listen, I have nothing against Stixxay. I've met him a couple times. I think he's a great guy. I think he's a solid player. But I think that the rest of the LCS has continuously leveled up while he has stayed about the same. And that's what we saw last year, right? He's not really going to lose you games. He's rarely going to win you games. He's just kind of there, and that's not exciting for me, and I just don't think it's going to be much of a good year for Golden Guardians as well. We continue on, and Tactical is the next guy on this list. He makes up the first person on C tier. I think Tactical's best. He could probably range somewhere up here in the A-ish range. I think at his worst, he's down in F. I'm putting him right at the middle at C because I think that he has great games, right, where he can just solo carry. I think he's very aggressive. I think he can, especially with a potential AD carry meta coming in right before the beginning of the split, I think that he can get a lot of resources and be really strong. But his problem is that his awareness is absolutely terrible. Like, if we were doing Madden ratings for his awareness, he'd be like down in the 40s because he'll just consistently put himself in a bad position. He doesn't know where the rest of his team is. He doesn't know where the enemy team is. He just sees somebody, he tries to kill him, and then sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You don't want a coin flip if you don't have to, but I don't know, at least it's better than Lost. So, yeah, good for Immortals, but still not a great player. In my mind, he's pretty good, though. The first player that I think, even though I'm putting him in C, that I think starts to make up, the better players is Neo. When Neo is at his best, he is also at this A range. When he's at his worst, I think he's in this C range. Sure, did Spawn come in and replace him? Yeah, I think that Dignitas more just wanted to see what else they had. Neo was top 3 in every single statistic in 2021. And yes, I think Aphromoo brings that out in him, but I think Chime is going to do the same thing. I think Chime is going to help to bring out the best of Neo, and I'm really excited to see what he can do on a team that will play a lot for him, right? I think that TSM are going to have to play for their carries. I think Maple and Neo are going to get a lot of resources. And I think that Neo is, another year in. He's always had this really high ceiling. And I think that this might be his chance to kind of show it. So, and truthfully, you can see I'm wearing a TSM thing. If you don't watch the rest of our channel stuff, like, yes, I am a TSM fan. But I have been very critical of them. But I think that Chime is vastly underrated. And I do think that he is going to make Neo the best version of himself, which is not this yet. But I think that as the split goes on, things will change. But this is where he's at for right now. Continuing on, we've got Jan making up the beginning of the B tier. And here's the deal. Jan, I think, has proven time and time again in Academy how great he is. I think last year he had an awesome year. How he will be able to translate that, I don't know. But I think that he has the potential to be able to do it. I'm really excited to see him play, especially with Core JJ as his support. I mean, we saw what, Tactical's best was with Core JJ. I think Jan is already going to be a better player. And probably at least a little bit more consistent, which is what puts him up in B tier. The next player here is, yes, Doublelift. Now, before all the Doublelift fanboys get mad at me, I think that there's a world where if Doublelift can really find his form again, he's up in like the A+ tier. I don't know if I could put him up in S, mostly just because of age, guys. I mean, listen, yes, 30 years old isn't that old in reality. I'm 30, okay? But when it comes to like your hands and how quickly your twitch reflexes are, an 18-year-old, a 20-year-old are going to be just faster than he is. He's going to have to really rely on his game knowledge. And I think that that's what puts him up here in this B tier for right now. Add on to that he hasn't played in 2 years. And I have my questions. And sorry, other thing I totally forgot about. He has a rookie support, right? Boostio's going to be good. I think Doublelift will be good. But it's going to take time for them to come together, right? Being able to balance the GOAT for Boostio is going to be tough. And he's going to take chances. He's going to make mistakes. And that is going to ultimately hurt Doublelift. So it's not that Doublelift can't be better than this. I actually think this is probably about as low as he goes. But, we're going to have to see what that hiatus did. We're going to have to see what the rest of the league, leveling up has done. What a new support looks like on a team that is should be good by the time the split is over. But at the beginning of the split, he's got to be hanging here for me. The last player to make up B is Luger for me. Listen, I think Luger is so underrated. I think Poom is an average at best to below average support, and Luger is like still able to do all the crazy things that he's able to do. I would love to see him with a top tier support because I think Luger could be challenging for that A+, potentially S tier range when he is at his best. And, he's had, now a full year under his belt with CLG. I only think he's going to get better. I think CLG are building around him. I think that's a great decision. I think he's really, really good, and he is right on that cusp of A. But I think there's only one player in A right now for me, and it's FBI. Dude, FBI is like as consistent as they come. I mean, he is Mr. goes down to his lane, gets the job done. Sure, he has games where he's seemingly inconsequential to the outcome. That happens sometimes. But when he's at his best, I mean, he's consistently at the top of every statistical category, and he helped, I think, make Huhi into the support that he is right now. You have him paired with Vulcan, and he's like A+ tier. He's like right at S for me, because I think that combination of FBI and Vulcan, it may not be as good as Danny. I think Danny is probably still better than FBI, but at least his potential certainly is better than FBI's highest ceiling. But I think Evil Geniuses could not have found a better North American player to come in, or not North American, non-import player to come in and take over the role. And I think with Evil Geniuses, he's really pushing right at that S tier for me. But he still has those games again where he's just kind of there. So he needs to prove that he can do more than that. First player in S tier is Prince. I went and looked at his stats, and What he did last year in the LCK, arguably the best region in the world, not really even anymore, the best region in the world again, is insane. It is absolutely insane. And the fact that we didn't get to see him at Worlds is absolutely heartbreaking. I think he came over here because FlyQuest were like, hey, we're going to pay you the bag. We're going to throw money at you. And this team that we're putting together has a really good chance to go to Worlds. So you're not going to ever again have to worry about whether or not you're going to make it to Worlds, because currently you're in the 4th best major region, so 4-4, right? And you're going to be one of the best players, probably one of the top 5 players in the entire freaking league, guys. Like, this dude is still young. He is uber talented. And FlyQuest hit an absolute home run. When I heard the rumor that Prince was coming over to the LCS, I was shocked. I went and I looked at some of his games. I went and looked at some of his stats. And I was like, holy crap, this guy is unbelievable. But yet he's still not number 1. Number 1 for me is still Berserker. Guys, Berserker is a stud. He is so good, and he's only going to continue to get better, okay? This guy is at the top of my list, probably, for best player in the LCS. I think it's between him and, like, JoJo Inspired, that kind of range. This dude is unbelievable, and, you know, the fact that he played with Winsome and first-time support Sven, and still did what he did, and won a championship at being the youngest person on this entire list is just insane to me. Like, the dude's not even 20 years old yet. The next closest person in age to him, I believe, is Jan. Everybody else on this list is like 22 and up. He's the youngest one. He is easily the most talented. He is an absolute just animal. And I think putting him anything less than at number 1 here is disrespectful. So, I don't know. You guys let me know, how bad is this list? How much do you hate it? How much do you love it? Just let me know. And, yeah, with that, I'll catch you guys on the next one.